Good morning, fourth grade. Today we're going to continue our study of the Egyptian gods. And today we are reading about the story of Aset or Isis. We're going to be reading this story the rest of the week and a little bit into next week because it's really long. But before we get started, we have a quick write. It says, what caused Set to trap Aset in a box and throw him in the Nile River? What is the possible effect of Set's actions? And so we know that it was Set's envy of Aset that caused him to throw the box into the Nile River. And a possible effect is that the Egyptian people no longer have a king or a pharaoh, and Set might take Aset's place. All right, press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the focus question. It says, how does Aset respond to Set throwing Aset into the Nile River? What do her actions reveal about her character? And our standard for today is being able to make inferences about a character's qualities based on the decisions that they make. We have 3 vocabulary words. The first one is devoted, and that's when you are being loving or loyal. So this person is a devoted citizen because they are voting. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Next word is futile. And if something is futile, it's pointless. This person is trying to grab the heart, but it's futile because they'll never be tall enough. And the last word is grief. And that's when you have lost someone that you love and you're very sad. Let's draw a line to this picture. All right, make sure you have your text out on your desk and that you're turned to this page in your notes. And we want to think about, how does Aset respond to Set throwing Aset in the Nile River? And we're going to look at this cause-effect relationship. Aset is going to do certain things, or there are going to be certain effects because of how she's responding to Set. Okay? So we're going to read the first page, and we have 3 sets of causes and effects. Let's begin reading. The god Set was so envious of his brother Aset that he committed a dastardly act. He nailed Aset into a box and threw it into the Nile River. "Aye!" screamed Aset. She ran along the shore, arms outstretched futilely. She must catch up. She must pull the box to safety. She imagined her husband trapped inside. Panicked, she ran. And we'll stop right there. We need to think in this paragraph, what happened? How did Aset respond? And that's the effect. What is she doing? And we can underline this last sentence. She imagined her husband trapped inside and panicked. She ran. So Aset is running after the box that's floating in the Nile River. You can write that quote in box 2A. She imagined her husband trapped inside, panicked, she ran. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the cause. All right, and we want to think about, why is she running? Why is she panicked? And we're going to go back up to the beginning of the paragraph to figure out the cause. She's running after her husband because Set nailed Aset into a box and threw it in the Nile River. All right, so we're going to write that quote in 2B for the cause. He nailed Aset into a box and threw it into the Nile River. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 3. We're going to keep reading and look for another set of cause and effect. But the current raced north, carrying her husband inexorably toward the sea. And the wind blew south, impeding Aset's every step. She ran hard, seeing the white foam swirl of the swift and wild river. She ran harder, hearing nothing but the shriek of the wind rasping her ears raw. The box was already out of sight. Aset had to run yet faster. That was her husband, the love of her life. All right, we'll stop right there. And we want to think about, what is Aset doing? And we know that she's running harder and faster after the box. And in box 3A, we would write, Aset ran harder and faster. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the cause. And we want to know, why is she running harder and faster? And it tells us that the current is racing north, carrying her husband inexorably toward the sea. That's the first quote. That's our first cause. Make sure you have that underlined, and you're going to write that down in 3B. Press pause to write down your answer in 3B and play when you're ready for the next cause. And then it also says that the wind is blowing south, impeding her every step. Underline that quote, and you're going to write it in the second part of 3B. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the last cause. And she's also running harder and faster because the box is out of sight. Underline this sentence, and you're going to write it down in the last part of 3B. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to keep reading. We're going to keep reading to figure out what happens next. And we have two things that happen and one reason why they happen, or one cause. Let's read. Aset ran all day, all night, all the next day. Her feet bled, her legs ached. When she arrived at the seashore, she raced back and forth, calling out over the green and blue and purple waters. Calling, calling. She rent her hair, she grabbed the clamshell and shaved off her eyebrows. She beat her chest. The world spun around this goddess, this woman in love, bereft and alone, who had no choice but to prostrate herself on the beach and wait for the dizziness to pass, and hope against hope that her husband had managed to get out of the box before he suffocated. All right, so what did Aset do? We know in this paragraph, it says in the last sentence that she rent her hair. That means she tore her hair out. She grabbed a clamshell and shaved off her eyebrows. She beat her chest. Underline this. This is an effect, and we're going to write that in 4A. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 4B. All right, another thing that Aset does is that she lies prostrate on the beach. That means she lies face down and waits for the dizziness to pass, hoping that her husband managed to get out of the box. All right, so we'll write down this sentence starting with, Aset had no choice in box 4B. Aset had no choice but to prostrate herself on the beach and wait for the dizziness to pass, and hope against hope that her husband had managed to get out of the box before he suffocated. Press pause to write down your answer in 4B and play when you're ready for 4C. And we're thinking, why did she do all of this? Why did she tear out her hair? Why is she lying on the beach, just totally given up? And that's because she lost sight of the box. She could not find the box anymore, and she's devastated that she lost her husband. And so in 4C, we would write, she lost sight of the box and is devastated that she lost her husband. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the paragraph. All right, and for the paragraph, we would write, how does Aset respond to Set throwing Usher into the Nile River? All right, and so you can write down the things, the effects that Aset does, and the causes for why she did those things.